the whole point about bringing this out as a topic for you is that it's pretty serious business, and office politics is something that a lot of people struggle with, particularly as they're getting to grips with the workplace, but particularly as you move into the middle towards the more senior level of management, the office politics starts to become more, shall we say, troublesome or irksome. So everybody at some stage in their career has got to make the decision, okay, I'm going to get my head around how to do this thing called office politics, if only to defend myself, but also then starting to convert it into, so how can I make positive use of it, hopefully with good intent and good integrity to be able to further the goals and the ambitions that you've got, because it is something that you can't really get away with. So you either get your head around it and work out how to do it, or you struggle through it not doing it terribly well and suffering, or you stick your head in the sand and just avoid it like the plague. And to me, and certainly with the experience that I've got coaching so many people over the years, option 3, stick your head in the sand, isn't viable if you want a career. If you want to get on and if you want to get good results, you've really got to be putting yourself out there and getting into the office politics. But the other key thing is, you don't have to sell your soul to the devil to be able to do this office politics. You can do it with integrity, and I've been around the block enough times to be sure of that. But you've got to learn how to do it and how to do it well. So what I'm going to do now is just go through a short presentation, and hopefully welcome to everybody else as they're coming in. But I've got 5 questions that I think need to be in your mind, and then I'm going to move into 5 tips and ideas or themes for getting your head around the politics, and then we'll have a discussion. And the first one here really is, what's your problem? And I think if you are feeling that you are needing to do something about office politics or be able to engage with it in a different way, you've really got to grapple with, so what is it that you're talking about? What is it that's going on? And certainly in the coaching sessions, it's really important for us to get an understanding, and for you to get an understanding of what you mean by politics. What actually is it? What's not working that you want to have work much better for you? Because partly because of the emotional reaction that people have to this whole topic, there's quite often a lot of hurt there, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration that's going on. But that isn't very good or very constructive in trying to work out what to do about it. So diving beneath the surface and starting to probe around, okay, so what do you mean by politics? When you say, I don't like the politics, or I'm not very good at it, what is it that you're not very good at? How do you sort of articulate that? I'll just give you one example. I was talking to somebody at the beginning of the week, and she was in a health setting looking at how to improve her ability to handle the politics. And when I asked this question, so what is the problem? What is the politics that you're trying to grapple with? And she said, well, I'm stuck between 2 things. And the one thing is, round the coffee machine and in the kitchen and things like that, they're all gossiping and they're sniping behind each other's back and things like that, and I can't be doing with that. They've got no time for it whatsoever. So I'm not willing to engage in that, because that doesn't suit my integrity. I think you should have honest transactions with people. So she was struggling how to handle those sort of informal conversations in the kitchen. But she said also, on the other hand, I've got the more senior management that I have to network with and engage with, and I don't really understand where they're coming from. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So whenever I try to do something, I'm very cautious, I'm hesitant, I'm not able to act with confidence. And so that's how we started to peel back the layers to understand the true nature of the problem. And once you've got, like with those of you that are analysts and looking at more formal problems, treat it that way. Try to get to the bottom of, okay, so what's going on here? What's the dynamic that you're not familiar with? And then you can start to figure out some probably quite simple solutions to some of this. Because what we'll also notice is that a lot of people don't want to engage in it. They don't like it, they don't know how to do it, and therefore they don't. And therefore they don't learn what they need to learn in order to be able to do it rather well. The next question I've got here is, very serious question. Why? Why do you want to get this fixed? Why do you want to increase your capability about that? And part of the reason for asking this is to make sure that you motivate yourself to do something serious about it. There's no point in going into this half-heartedly. You've got to actually, I think, if you want to master it, you've really got to go in with that as your objective. I really want to get this fixed because of da 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 da. And then if you work out that motivational sort of statement, you've got a chance of then keeping yourself motivated and doing the work that is investing the time that you need to invest in it so that you can get the result. So think about, so what's in it for you to make this change, to make this sort of development, to be able to handle the office politics much more effectively. The next thing then is, okay, so what action are you going to take? You can't sit back and expect it to, the mist to clear and the veil to be removed and you can suddenly all see it. It does take a great deal of time to be able, particularly in complex environments, to be able to begin to feel like you're competent at being able to handle the politics. So you have got to take action over a period of time in any group that you're trying to work out how to do it, so that you can actually step forward and grow. And it's a bit like with most skills, they take a while before you start to feel like you're getting it. And particularly with the politics, because it is so quite often so sort of obscured by the actors who are in it deliberately trying to keep people away from it. But also some of this is quite tenuous stuff that you've got to get to the bottom of, and opinions and feelings of other people around the group that you are working with. So you have got to take steps, and I think it's a very, very good idea to start to plan it out. And one tip for you right now is thinking about what action you need to take. Ask yourself a question: what do I need to learn this week about that individual stakeholder, about this particular issue? So what are the gaps in your knowledge? Because you're not going to get good at the politics until you've got more complete information, which requires seeking out information. And that's why on the next session we'll be talking about how to gather what I call political intelligence. So posing the questions to yourself at the beginning of the week already gives you a little bit of an agenda to follow during that week. And sometimes the answers may be staring you in the face, but because you haven't asked the question, you haven't seen the answer either. So a little bit of a tip to actually take you forward on that. And the next question is, who can support you in your development? And the problem we've got with a lot of this is that it takes some wrapping your head around and so it's really, really useful if you've got somebody that you can trust, who is perhaps familiar with the people in, or the stakeholders in your environment where you're trying to get to grips with the politics, so that you can use as a sounding board. Well, I saw this. What's your take on this? Or, what do you think is actually going on behind that? And that could be a mentor. It could be somebody who's coming from a coaching perspective, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But it could just be friends. But try to avoid those that are wanting to just gossip about what's going on and get ensnared in all the games and the dirty tricks and things like that. Try to find somebody else who's in a similar position to you, trying to get to grips with it, or has already got to grips with it and therefore a little bit wiser about what's going on. And the final thing is it worth the effort? Because it is going to be an effort, and this is sort of linked to your motivation about, why do you want it fixed? But going even deeper, you've got to have a cost-benefit analysis almost, because you are going to have to initially invest time. You are going to have to invest relationships as well, so that you've got those sort of improving, so that you get more being revealed to you, and that's going to take some effort, and you've got to be well motivated for that. You've got to keep coming back to it, because you can start to see some big wins. And what those wins might be is something for you to start to work out. So it might be, for instance, that if you're looking to get promoted, you're looking to go up a rung or two in the ladder, being able to demonstrate that you can handle the politics might put you in pole position for that promotion. So therefore, is that worth the effort? And you could almost even begin to quantify that if you wanted to. As in, if I get a promotion, I'm going to earn X more, or these are the opportunities, therefore, is it worth the time? Because you have got to invest the time, you have got to take a concerted amount of effort to go into it, so that you can start to step forward. So those are some questions to, really get your head around what preparing yourself for the development and for the task ahead. So moving over to some of the suggestions now, and let's sort of look at it in a slightly more positive light. Again, some key areas that are really important, and they feature in not only the coaching work that I do, but also the writing that I'm doing quite a lot of, is